me ahead here.
Yeah, I think probably a day or two, but
We have to close it while we're pouring. We have to close it if we're putting any steel girders
right,
in.
steel, obviously, we do that at night, with the closure, and obviously we don't want to have traffic going underneath the road. So
Yeah, literally, it's only when it's required for safety, because what we're building is the bridge that's up in the air.
right.
Yeah.
When we're building abutments and driving pylon things, we can probably accomplish all of that by restricting and using a flagger to flag traffic.
And Mr. What are your times of when are you guys going to be working? Is it 8 in the morning until 8 at night?
It's usually 7 to 7.
Okay. And
That's
then,
our normal
Right.
work times are 7 to 7. And it's normally Monday through Friday.
okay.
If we need to, we sometimes will go to a Saturday if we lose a day of rain, or if we're not keeping with the schedule we need to accomplish. There are some activities that we have to do at night because of when we're allowed to close lanes on certain roadways and interstates. If we get really jammed up on schedule, we might go to a second shift, but frankly, we would rather do work 7 to 7, Monday through Friday. It's when we have daylight, and it's when we have heavy workers.
Could you bring your timing into the next meeting of when you're allowed to do that, just so we know? And if we do go to Saturday, it's probably as important that we know quickly, because we've got churches with vigil masses, and they are going to have to tell people, or else it's going to be a real challenge for people to get there. And that goes for the same for Sunday too. We've got 14 churches on West 14th.
We're not going to prevent the access to any of your locations. People will be able to get through with a flagger or a posted detour, but we will get the information out.
Okay.
The best thing I can recommend, if you want to know what's going on the project, if you've got email access, is to sign up for our email list. It's on the website at innerbelt.org. But we will always be sending this information over to Sammy, and he'll be able to send it out through all the ways that
On
he shares
the
information
Business
with you as
Roundtable
well.
group.
And we'll be coming to talk to you on a regular basis.
Every 60 days.
Ms.
That's fine for residents of Tremont, but correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, Scott, the majority of people that come to the churches in Tremont live out in the suburbs.
That's right.
So how do you get that information to them?
Well, when we at the bare minimum, when we've got something scheduled specifically, that information will be, the church will get that information. They'll be able to give it to the parishioners the previous weekend.
Okay.
There'll be signage up that if you just show up, there'll be signage that'll help you get around if we've got a closure. It's not like we're going to block things that you can't get through.
So I think from my perspective, I think that's the commitment we need from your organization, make sure that information gets to the churches so the churches can put it in their bulletins and give to their parishioners.
I need those churches to sign up on the email list or be in some way connected to us so that I've got a way to reach out to them. Yes. I can't find them easily. If they'll come find me, I've got those cards. Let me know. Make sure those congregations get in touch with me, and I will make sure that we've got a distribution list. We'll get it out to everybody.
And Kathy, we'll send that to you
And
also.
you know what? Prayers are always welcome.
Kathy, we'll send that to you also. All of our churches are on our business roundtable list.
Okay.
I mean, churches are a business. Nope. No. Nothing bad intended
Yeah,
with
we'll
that statement.
absolutely keep all those on the list.
There is a question from our flats industry segment in relation to the Scranton Road closing. What's current from University to Scranton, to the cul-de-sac. Where University's closing
Okay.
between 13th and Scranton. The amount of earth that's being moved out of there, we know that it's a phenomenal amount of tonnage and volume. Do you have destination for this product already? The question of concern was, how's that trucking route for that amount of dirt? How's that going to affect the infrastructure? You may, relevant to the transportation. You may not be able to answer this at this point, but they're interested in knowing that, so people on the route can prepare and kind of know what to expect. Do you have?
Are you aware what the haul routes are that have been defined for that, or Jason?
I know we have defined all around, I believe it's to Scranton or West 14th Street.
And it doesn't have to be answered at this moment, perhaps the next meeting, but it's a comment of interest from our industry end.
One of the things that we're doing is we are using trucks that carry more of that earth than is typical.
Yes.
So we are reducing the number of trucks that make the trips.
And here, breaking up the road, Scranton Road is almost impassable. So is Carter Road up where they're piling up that stuff in the whole downtown. Those roads are in terrible shape.
I don't think that we own the condition of those roads at this point. They were in pretty bad shape already, so.
We have identified our haul routes. I don't have them with me. They're mostly down through the flats and back and forth. And we did review the condition of all those before we started, and the contractor is responsible to maintain it. So if his vehicles are doing damage, he needs to do it. Some of these roads, like Scranton, was in very poor condition before, so he's not required to make it look like new. He's just, and we are working with the city and the county on a potential future project on Scranton, but that's going to be, if it happens, farther down. So we are looking at that, and we will keep all roads with the city's help passable.
But that Carter Road between Carter Road Bridge and Columbus is really being torn up in there.
Rob, if I'm not mistaken, that's not a public street, is it? It operates like a public street, but it's not actually Carter between Columbus and...
60 years out of here.
What do you mean?
It's operated for years as a public street, but I don't believe it's actually owned by any public entity.
We have to charge a toll. Rob, can you do me a favor and fix that? Because you guys obviously have the capabilities with engineering and construction. We do got to get those roads fixed. Mr. Watson's not making it out. We're busting axles out there.
Yeah, you get comments from customers that between detours and potholes that eat their cars, it's not worth it. And then, what do you say to somebody?
Okay, what detours are they encountering already?
They're anticipating. It's like right now in Starkweather, they have been fixed, but they were such amazing potholes, and then you get all this talk about detours. People get nervous because they're going to have their habit interrupted, and they just get nervous. I can't tell you how many people call and say, at what point will I not be able to get down to Starkweather? It's like, I'm sorry, I'm the owner of Lucky's Cafe on Starkweather. Heather Cameron, thanks, Drew. And people get nervous even though you say this, like we're all working together, we're going to be getting out detours to people as soon as we get to them, but we will